When Americans worry about cyber attacks, they typically think of the power grid, banks, or military systems. But America's most critical, yet most vulnerable infrastructure is its water utility network. Water treatment plants, dams, and pumping stations are largely decentralized, managed by thousands of separate municipalities, and often run on aging, easily penetrated computer systems. This decentralized weakness is a goldmine for a hostile state. It represents a low-cost, high-impact weapon capable of causing national chaos without firing a single shot. The threat comes from nations that possess sophisticated, state-sponsored cyber units, particularly Russia and Iran. Their intelligence units know that a cyber attack on a power grid can be restored quickly, but an attack on the water supply where the health implications are immediate, and the panic is instantaneous, is a far more potent form of terror. The goal isn't just to disrupt the flow, it's to trigger a massive nationwide loss of public confidence and force the US military and government to divert resources from international defense to domestic crisis management. This is the ultimate home front red zone. A successful attack on water utilities exploits the trust and security Americans take for granted every time they turn on their tap. The strategic leverage gained by a state actor who can cause even a temporary, widespread lack of clean, safe water is immense. The question is not if this infrastructure will be targeted, but when, and how devastating the consequences will be. The attack is coordinated, hitting multiple major US metropolitan areas simultaneously. The state actor doesn't physically destroy anything, they simply target the SCADA control systems, the software that manages chemical dosages, filtration rates, and pressure. The immediate results are terrifying: contamination and false alarms. In one city, the systems are manipulated to dramatically overdose the water with chlorine or fluoride, making it chemically unsafe for consumption. In another, the attack merely shuts down the filtration system, causing immediate fear of physical contamination. The critical effect is panic, infrastructure collapse, pumping stations are forced to shut down due to manipulated pressure readings, causing instant localized water loss and rendering fire hydrants useless. The national panic is instantaneous and chaotic. Retail stores are emptied of bottled water within hours. Local governments, unprepared for this scale of disruption, are overwhelmed by emergency calls. The fear is compounded by the knowledge that no one can trust the most basic necessity of life. Economically, the impact is crippling. Hospitals and schools shut down. Industries reliant on clean water halt production, and domestic stability evaporates. The US military is forced into an immediate domestic role, diverting resources to provide emergency clean water, secure treatment plants, and attempt to trace the origin of the attack. The strategic humiliation is complete. The world's superpower is paralyzed by an attack that cost almost nothing to execute, proving that America's greatest strength is also its greatest vulnerability. The cyber attack on water utilities forces an irreversible change in US defense policy, shattering the long-held boundary between domestic infrastructure and national security. The US government is forced to concede that the defense of a municipal water treatment plant is just as vital as the defense of the Pentagon. The long-term consequence is the militarization of domestic cybersecurity. The US Congress is compelled to pass sweeping, mandatory federal cybersecurity standards for all critical infrastructure, overriding local and state control. Agencies like the Department of Homeland Security and the NSA gain unprecedented authority to monitor and defend utility systems, effectively nationalizing the security of local infrastructure. The geopolitical fallout is a new definition of warfare. The US is forced to issue a clear doctrine that an attack on critical civilian infrastructure, particularly water, will be treated as an act of war with commensurate retaliation. This escalates the global cyber arms race, as nations now know they possess a low-cost tool to inflict massive damage on any rival. The final lesson of the water utilities attack is a terrifying one. The defense of democracy must now extend to every valve, every pipe, and every server room in the nation.